Ready to get the inside scoop on equity funding? Tune in to TDJ Equity Funding Insiders Podcast for an in-depth look at what it takes to access financial capital and maximize your investments. Hear from experienced professionals, including bankers, underwriters, loan officers, and industry experts as they share their unfiltered stories and valuable lessons on securing funds.
Welcome back to TDJ Equity Funding Insiders, the podcast that brings you the inside scoop on funding for your business and real estate investments. I'm your host, Jacqueline Jackson, the loan broker guru, here to serve up a steaming plate of financial wisdom with a side of reality. Introducing our special co-host, a loan broker extraordinaire from the great state of Texas. With years of experience and a dedication to helping people secure all types of funding, he has truly become a go-to expert in the lending industry. Not only has he assisted countless individuals to obtaining the financial support they need, but he has also played a pivotal role in helping other brokers grow their own loan brokerage business. His expertise and guidance have been invaluable, and he continues to be a driving force in the lending community today. Let's welcome Reyes Flores to our podcast today. Welcome, Reyes.
No, thank you very much. Thank you for letting me be a part of this.
And we're so happy for you to have. So we're going to get into this today, and we want our listeners we're bringing something special to you guys today, and it is about the loan broker business. Basically, let you know who we are, what we do, and how we can help you. Because a lot of people are not aware of what the loan brokers are. Reyes and I was talking earlier how you have a misconceptions of what it is. You're not really aware of the services that you can get with it. So hopefully with this show today between him and I, since he's a loan broker and I'm a loan broker, that we can kind of bring some enlightenment to what that all is detailed, okay? So let's start off with Reyes, if you would, tell us about you and what brought you to where you at today with us as a loan broker.
Well, thank you again. I have background as a banker. I was a business banker for 10 years. But prior to that, small business. I was a small business owner. So entrepreneur spirit, always looking to find the way to get money.
Right.
That starts early. And becoming a banker definitely provided background and structure, understanding of underwriting, certain products and tools that you can use. Leaving the bank actually expanded all those options. And that's really what makes the brokering fun. There's all the different products that we can choose from, and not just what the banks offer. And since we're all different and individual in the way we operate our businesses, you have to have different type of solutions for people's problems.
Exactly.
So always about helping people.
Okay, it's basically what it is. And that's understandable. So let's start off with this, because we know we have some questions that you and I have both seen and heard before. So I kind of want to address those on this show today. So let's start off with this. What are loan brokers? What is a loan broker?
So my definition of a loan broker is an individual or group that has relationships in a varied format. So you have relationships with banks, but you have relationship with non-traditional funding. That's a big swath, a lot of different options there. So again, everybody's individual, and some people have really good credit, so they have everything in place. They just don't know where to go,
right.
And they hear a no from the bank, and they think everything's over. And some people don't have good credit. Some people are struggling.
It's options for them.
So it's just such a big, broad area. Having the vast different resources really allows you to be able to put that client with the lender that would take that risk and offer the service. Right. That's truly what a broker is.
Right. And that's what I see, like I said, what we do, and like I said, agreeing with everything that you're saying as well. We act as like a middle person between the business owner and the lenders. Now, I do want to say this, and I know you agree with me. We are available for those who need help in getting working capital.
Yes.
You know, that's what, then make sure you understand, because some people don't need our help. Some people got all the money they need.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And some people know everything they need to know. But there are some of us, or some people that's business owners like ours. We specialize in working with funding for business owners and real estate investors. Okay.
Correct.
Those are the ones that are looking for money and need the help and guidance on how to get it. The good thing is we show them how to get the money, how we get the money. And then we also help to actually get them with lenders that can actually fund them the money as well.
Right.
Because a lot of it's documentation, a lot of people are so intimidated about that stuff, and we kind of help out with that. So I think that's something that's really good to mention as loan brokers, and to understand that a broker works on the behalf of you, trying to match you up what works for you. So it's not like, oh, you work with the lenders. Yeah, I do. But the good side working with lenders is that we know what they're looking for.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We know what the underwriting practices are. And so that makes it where you can be more eligible, because we can tell you what it needs to look like before we actually send you out. Instead of you just walking in, and how many times do we throw it against the wall and hope it stick when it comes to loan? So I think that's something that we need to make sure people are aware. Now let's ask this other question. So when it comes to loan brokers, how is it that a loan broker can help with getting funding?
So the number one thing that ends up from a loan broker in comparison to a banker,
right?
So just that way we have a comparison. The loan broker is going to see what you have and see what you're bringing to the table, and they're going to maximize that.
The bad and the ugly
the
is
bad,
what we
the
see.
ugly,
That's
the
right.
Good, right? But we're going to maximize that. We're really going to see what you're looking for, what you have to offer, and then we're going to place you, before we start pressing any buttons and doing any all this stuff, with a lender that is highly probable to assist you.
Right.
Contrast to a banker, they're looking for things. If you don't match what they're looking for, then you're not going to get help from them. And that's complete opposite of what we are. Right. Personally, I take ownership of the file. It becomes my loan.
Right.
And it becomes my challenge to get the money, because I know what it actually means.
Right.
If that funding happens, then opportunities continue to open for these small business owners. If we don't get funding for them, it becomes very difficult sometimes, because they're talking to us because the banks probably told them no already. So we end up being some of the last options that they have. So it becomes crucial. I mean, it's a very pivotal point sometimes, and we have to be very invested in our clients and their longevity.
Right.
And it's not a one-stop shop. As a broker, I'm consistently with you, because I mean, every business has different leverage points that we use.
Right.
So we can get you money this way, we can get you money this way. As long as we have a great communication, open line, and you tell me what your strategies are, then we can line you up for the next year or two. And that way you have a good plan in place to succeed.
To do it. And see, so what we do with our brokerage is kind of like similar to you guys, but we also, we look at them, and what's good, because I want to answer the question too. Let me say that first. Let me go back. How can loan brokers help with getting funding? How we help with it is working capital. If you need working capital to expand, we can help you get that. At the same time, you want to purchase a building. We can help you do that, or a warehouse, or you want to purchase a truck. So we can do that too. So having a loan broker, we can handle everything that you need to get financing and funding for. We can do with your particular business. Like you said, we invested in you. So we know who you are. We know what you look like. The other thing we do is, like you had mentioned, when people come and you can't help them, what we try to do is show you what you need to be, where you need to be, so you can get help. And we've had people come back to us a year later and they say, okay, I went back and did what you did, and this is what I look, and we get them funded.
Right.
So you still have a guidance there where you can come to us and we still can help you, at least line you up. If we can't get you a loan, we can tell you what to do so you can get a loan. 100%. And that's something I know you won't get at the bank. The bank can't, they just gonna tell you, you don't.
They're not paid for that.
Exactly. So we're good if you're looking for a line of credit for payroll, or you have a big contract and you might want to have it factored. We can do the factor. It's so much we can do for you as loan brokers that's catered to just you, and it's putting the lenders in your box instead of putting you in a box for the lenders. Is it correctly?
100%.
So that's how we kind of move that. So there are some benefits with being with the loan broker. So you're going to name some, and I'm going to say, but let's name, what do you think some of the major benefits it is about just going with a loan broker compared to not?
Time. The amount of time that you save as a business owner, if you come to me a 10, 20-minute conversation, it saves you probably 30 days of you going to the different banks and processing all this paperwork, and they're like, "Oh, we didn't need that, we don't need that," and blah blah blah. And you're like, ah, and in the end, we deal with so many frustrated business owners because they really think that the system has failed them, and that's the other positive is a reality check. The reality, you're looking at the wrong system.
Exactly.
Let's find you the right system, and everybody will be happy.
Right.
So those are two big benefits: time saver, and the fact that you'll be looking in the right place.
Right. And I want to add to that, some people don't realize when a bank, and I mean, mainly everybody know banks, and we'll talk about the other type of lenders, but when when people get denied from a bank, they think that's it. Mm-hmm. They don't want to go any further, and you don't understand. It's the bank denying you is saying you don't qualify for their bank. But it doesn't mean you don't qualify for funding. Right. And that's what I think, even with my pain starting off as an entrepreneur some years ago, over 20 some years ago, that's what I didn't know. I thought banks was the only place you can go and get money. Well, we found out you have direct lenders, you got private lenders. It's so much other that's out here, alternative lending and all of that's out here. And we know it as a brokerage company and you don't. And that's okay. Mm-hmm. That's the reason why you come to a brokerage company. So you can see what's your options. The thing people have to understand, even those that's in business and your credit's not that good, you have options, of getting some type of funding and stuff. And so that's why I think it's good to even come to a loan broker. So we definitely want to mention that. The other thing I like about the benefits that we give people is, and you mentioned too, we know what the underwriters are looking at. We know how you should look. And you're right. You don't want to go into a bank trying to get yourself together. Because because when you come to ask for money, and you correct me, Reyes, when you come ask for money as a business owner, you should already know what you need and what you're going to use it for and how you look. Right. But most of the time, business owners don't know that. And so what you do is fill out this application, and guess what? Your applications, your financials, your PFA, it all shows you don't know what you're doing.
Right.
That's what it did. You filled it all out, and it now says you don't know what you're doing. And so they give you a denial. And one thing about a denial for banks and lenders, they don't have to tell you denial on one item. They don't have to explain themselves. They can say it's your credit, and probably would. That's the easy one to say, when really it's something else. So, that's where I think with us, people understand that we help move that doubt out, because I know you don't present a lot of stuff to banks that ain't going to go through. Right. Now don't get me wrong. We can present you so far, and then once they do the background check and it's come back other things, other ways, and that's going to look a different way. But the part that we can do which is make sure you set up to get funded. And if your background, everything right, you'll get it. So we don't want to fool with people that we're not guessing either. We just looking at, because it's not a guessing game of getting funded. No. And that's what I want to explain. How do you see in your career of doing loan brokerage, how do you see the funding working now compared to what it was years ago? 'Cause I know you did it before the COVID and all of that. So what do you see the difference now?
So one of the biggest difference is right now in the current interest rate market, 13% on some of the things that I see, banks are really restrictive. They still do not want to take the risk. They're not. I mean, if you are not within a certain range, I just sat with the banker Monday, and he was telling me that their minimums on some of their products went up to 740 on credit scores.
Yeah.
I've never seen it at 740.
That's high. But you and I have lenders that are lower than that.
Right. I have lenders that don't look at credit. It's a big old area of opportunity. One thing you were talking about is the underwriter. So I'm going to add to what you said is one thing that we do, and inadvertently, I guess, but we kind of get the business owners to start speaking underwriter terminology. Start looking at things from their underwriting percent.
Okay, give me an example.
The business owner looks at their business and says, I do this is what I have, and this is what's important to me. Okay. Right? Which is great. Okay. And then they turn it over to the underwriter, and the underwriter is like, okay, well, I don't care about this. I don't care about that. I don't care about this. So the business owner has a better chance of running their business a way the underwriter wants to see the business ran. Okay. So that when they do apply for loans, the underwriter says, oh, I like this. I like this. They're doing this.
At TDJ Equity Funding, we understand the challenges you face. Whether you're expanding your business, investing in real estate, or launching a startup, we've got your back. Our expert team of loan brokers is dedicated to helping you secure the funding you need, hassle-free. Imagine a future where your business thrives, where opportunities are endless and working capital has made a great difference in your business. TDJ Equity Funding can make it happen. Booking an appointment with us is easy as pie. Just visit our website at www.tdjequityllc.net and take the first step towards your financial success. Don't let your dreams gather dust on the shelf. Seize the opportunity today. Visit www.tdjequityllc.net and schedule your appointment with TDJ Equity Funding. Let's turn your dreams into dollars. So are you saying, which I think you are, and I agree, that business have a tendency to tell more than they need to?
Yes,
give more than they need
that
to?
That too. Or they're looking at the wrong thing. I had an appointment with a liquor distributor today, and he doesn't understand why banks aren't going to help him. Well, I mean, you're a liquor distributor. I said, what's the bank going to do with this liquor if you don't pay? They don't have a license to sell it. How are they going to get their money back? They just don't have that perception. But that's why the bank's not lending money to you.
But you have other options.
I have other options. Yeah, other than the bank.
But you just explain the bank to them.
But he didn't. I mean, they don't get that. They're like, I have a valuable business, $4 million a year. This is a formidable business.
They kill me saying that I got this much in the bank. Why can't I get a loan? Because it's not about your money in the bank.
And that's the learning how to look at things from an underwriting perspective.
Right, exactly.
It will just help a little bit. And that's what we bring. Right. We see things from that perspective.
Right.
We start underwriting the minute we start asking questions.
Right.
So we're crossing our T's and dotting our I's as we're progressing down our conversation, because in time is essence.
Right.
And the quicker we get you the money, the quicker you can make money with it.
Right, that you can do. And that's the saving part with us, because we've built up relationships with our lenders. They know you, they know you know them, and they're more apt when your applications come through, they pretty much know it's already going to check off the list.
Right.
It's going to check because it's going to have everything. We're going to make sure. So like we were joking about the bad, the ugly, we see it. We are supposed to see it. We're the loan brokers. We're going to see what you look like and correct what you need to correct or change. And if you're not ready, believe me, we don't send nobody through that's not ready either, because we don't want to get marked that we got bad loans. So guess what we do? Spend our time to do the loans, to make sure that we check everything out and that it is fundable.
Yes.
So we're not trying to waste your time either. But like I said, there are some things, and there are sometimes you have to understand that I think, and I want to say this because a lot of people, business owners, have these myths of way the lending world works. Like, one, you believe you can give them the saddest story and that's going to add to you getting that money. It's amazing how many people think you want to talk about what you had happen a year ago or how COVID attacked you, and that's going to make, let's give you an extra $10,000. It doesn't work.
No.
It work that way. So I think when you talk about the underwriters, let's talk on that. What are some things that you think business owners are not really aware of that's going on with the underwriters that they should be?
So I'll give you a very clear example. So I'm just going to use a lawn service.
Okay.
So owner lawn service has 50 clients. Okay. Does well. These are all corporate clients and so forth. So let's just say they do $2 million a year. Okay. He's doing really well. And they go to a bank or they go somewhere and they don't understand why their business doesn't carry value. Well, nobody tells them to get a service agreement in place. That service agreement now became accounts receivables.
Sure did.
That changed the entire perception of your business. That one little item. The banks aren't going to tell you that.
No.
I mean, but we can guide you there and get that in place. You can do factoring. I mean, how many doors did that open? Just putting that one service agreement in place.
That's projected income too, man, that you don't even have yet. But yet, in financial world, we can count it.
Right.
Yeah.
That's thinking of things in an underwriter perspective.
Right.
So the underwriter sees that accounts receivables and says, "Oh, okay. Well, you have $200,000 a month in accounts receivables." Sure.
Exactly. That's right. You're fundable. That's
fundable.
right.
So that little change right there that conversation doesn't happen unless you go to, even some of these services don't necessarily tell you. And I say some of these services.
We're going to talk about that next. We're going to talk about that next. Okay.
But that's
your broker should give you that type of information.
Right.
Let's just call it like it is. You should be able to get they should be coming to you from the underwriter point of view, what they're looking for. They should be knowledgeable about that side.
Right.
And that's what you're saying.
Yes.
So when you come to us, and I guess to be honest, Reyes, we can just vouch for us. I mean,
Right.
You should get that information. Like that's what you would do. And that's what you're saying. So when we're looking at underwriters, not underwriters, I'm sorry, when you're looking for loan brokers, we do want the people that understand what the banks want. Now, I do want to say this because I came to a podcast earlier. I just came from one, did one. And I actually, the question that they was asking, the audience asked would make good sense, was they want to know why do not, and I want you to answer it too, because I answered it. I want to see what you're going to say.
Okay.
Why is it that the banks and the underwriters just don't tell us what we should already do?
Well, they're a business, number one. People forget that. They're a for-profit
Right,
business,
they do.
right? So business owners have certain regulations they have to follow. There's certain guidelines that there's certain minimums.
Mm-hmm.
So as a business owner, you want to get away with the minimum so that you can make the maximum.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So if it's not required, it's not required.
Mm-hmm.
There's no laws indicating that somebody has to specifically tell you what's going on. You get a notice saying, hey, you can, something's wrong with your credit, like you said.
Right, or something like that.
Something very vague. But if you start giving a lot of details, I mean, the bigger you are, the more concerned you are about legal.
And that's their side. And that's, and you're talking from the bank side. And I get that. You are. Now, let me tell you what I said, because I haven't been a banker. Okay. I just actually been in business development, helping people get it. But what I said to them was this: you have to understand, and I know you can correct me if I'm wrong, that the underwriters are there for the bank.
Oh, yeah.
They want to make sure that the loan that they're giving, they're going to get their money back. Now, if they got to tell you what to do in order for that to happen, they're not going to do that. I wouldn't do that. I mean, because first of all, if you asking me, and I'm just saying $1 million, but if you ask me for $50 as a bank, I need to see that you can pay it back. I don't need you to give me a sad story. Like I said, the paperwork and the documents they ask for, those tell the story.
Yes.
And so I should be able, as a banker, look at it and say, oh, like you said, oh, he got contracts. He can take care of this loan. Right. So understand, they're not there for you. They're for the bank so they can give the loan to you, but they are responsible for making sure that you are fundable, but the more important that you're going to pay it back. Like you said, who wants the liquor? They don't want your liquor. They want you to give them back their money. So that's why it's a lot they don't tell you. And why would they? And let's be something me and you don't want to talk about, but we need to. It is so much fraud out here.
Yes.
Okay?
100%. Yeah.
So you have to understand where they're coming from. That, like I told one guy, he was talking about, man, they went back and checked all that. Because, CAVR is like the check that they do for the student loans. Okay? When you do an SBA loan, they'll have a lot of those. That's what they check for the student loans. The thing is, he was like, how did they go back and look at all that? I said, let me tell you something. You're talking about $1.7 million. They will check everything behind your dirty ears. So get ready for that. Don't think, and this is a big thing I need everybody to hear too. There is nothing they're going to ask you that they don't already know the answer to. Ain't that
true?
So tell me your opinion and your experience working with them. I mean, we want to enlighten our listeners to let them know how it is so they can stop thinking of it as it's a different thing. Tell me your opinion on how you think that works when they do that.
So from the bank's perspective?
Yeah, the bank, I guess.
So from the bank's perspective, I mean, you're not a counselor. You're not a coach. You're told that. I mean, they're not training you to be a
to
small
get the
business
loan
coach.
No, that's true.
And there's nothing wrong with banks. I'm not saying no.
There's nothing wrong with what they're saying.
If you can afford to go to a bank, you have your T's crossed and your I's dotted, go to the bank. Mm-hmm. We'll send you to the bank if we see that.
Right,
I mean,
exactly.
We have bank relationships. So the bank is just not set up to be a counselor. I mean, and I
hadn't thought of it like that. But right, we need to say that
they're not
counselors for you.
We can counsel you.
Right.
We have a vested interest in you because we're not going to get paid unless we can help you get paid.
That's right.
The banker is already getting paid.
Right.
That's a big difference as well. So they're they might get a little bit more money, but in the end, we have to perform.
Right.
We have to perform. So we have to have quality We have to maintain a certain amount of good loans, like you were talking about. So
Right.
all this is a positive for the client, because at that point we're making sure that they're looking really good.
Yeah.
And we're using the right points to leverage for their business.
For them to work at that. That's right. So that's great. So we appreciate it. So let's ask some other questions and see that we had to come through that I do want to ask. As a loan officer or loan broker, I'm sorry, are there any funding opportunities that you've seen that was especially successful for borrowers right now? Any type of funding you see that works pretty good for borrowers at this point?
Real estate. Real estate is still strong.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, that lending in the real estate market has continued, even though the interest rates have gotten extremely high.
Right.
The qualifications are actually being retracted because of the stability of the interest rates not going up. And the housing market is really, really, really tight still, even though prices haven't, dropped much. The demand is really high. So just 2 days ago, we were notified of the reduced qualifications for some of our commercial builders to build houses. So if the banks are doing that, they're telling you that that's their focus. Their focus, since the rates aren't going up, they're really focused back on good, strong asset. And a house is always a good, strong asset.
Right. So you're saying, anything with assets.
Right. I was going
I got you.
to piggyback on that and saying it's really what you're bringing to the table. Well, if you're making a product, that's an asset. If you're a service provider, you need to create it as an asset, not just reference how to make that.
And that's with the contract. So we need to say that. That is such a smart point.
That creates an asset for the business. But you really have to understand that all lenders are asset-based lenders, even the ones that use your bank account. They're basing your asset as the volume coming into your bank account every single month.
They're looking at the revenue. They counting your revenue, your future revenue is what they're looking at. And you're right, it is an asset. So we have it where collateralized, and then they say it's non-collateral or unsecured.
Unsecured.
But the unsecured, like you said, you're still looking at that revenue.
That's what I'm basing my judgment on.
Right. I got you. So that's basically how that works. So that's a good thing you made. I think for them to see and understand how that works. So let me ask you: would you, when it comes to lending or funding, and it comes to business owner, what are some top tips or some tips you would like to give them when they're trying to get funding for their business?
Understand what you're going to use the money for.
Okay.
I mean, number one, be very clear. Don't mix it. So if I'm going to use money for improvements on the building, don't mix it with, I need to hire a person. There's two different products for that. You actually apply two different things. And that gives you a higher probability of getting that loan, both of the loans. Right. They're served two different purposes.
Right.
I'll use the liquor distributor. Okay. You don't need a loan. You need a line of credit. You need to work on a line of credit because you're going to spend the money. You're going to reapply. Spend the money, reapply. That doesn't work that way. So it's the product.
Exactly.
You really understand what you're going to use the money for, and that dictates the product that's going to be used to help you with that.
Right. And that's where we come in as loan brokers to kind of help you that. Because I had a client too that came in and he wanted working capital. And once he qualified for so much, he's like, oh, well, I could probably pay my house off with the rest of it. No. We don't pay house off with that. I understand it's a lot. He's like, oh, well then what are, and I was like, that's what we're going to talk about, the use of funds. We just had that discussion. That's why I realized a lot of people don't realize that and he didn't either, because he's like, well, I need to get a truck. Well, that's a whole different loan. You don't take a $800,000 working capital and go buy a truck. You use it for working capital.
Right.
And then what we do is go get a loan for the truck. At the same time, he needed to purchase a warehouse. So he said, well, I got this money. I can actually go, the warehouse is $500,000. I can just go your working capital is your working capital. And I think people don't properly know how to use the money once they get it. That's a whole different podcast for you and I. But we definitely want you to use it for what you should be. And we try to say that you don't have to use that working capital for everything. We have loans for everything. So for that truck, that warehouse and everything you want, we have separate loans for all of that.
Yes.
And it doesn't come out that 800. So guess what? He gets to keep that 800 and really deal with working capital, payroll and everything else. And yet he still have a warehouse and we still was able to get him a truck.
That's the best use of your time, effort, and resources.
Exactly.
That's
well
put.
So we need you all to know that that's out there. Now, like I said, I think they really don't understand as loan brokers. We provide those questions or those answers to those questions that you have. So it's good to reach out to us. Either, like I said, you can reach out to us on this show, as you know, it's on the podcast, or you can actually, in your area, you can Google and see what loan brokers you can find and go, and based on the conversation we have, you got an idea of pretty much probably what you're looking for when you talk to them. And then they can kind of cater to you and your situation. Now, one thing I like that I love, and I know you're the same way because you've been in this for a while, you have, how many clients you have worked with over the years that you probably haven't even seen them, but you've been working with them all over the nation? How much do we really have that's like that? And I feel we have a lot of people. You think?
Yeah. We're nationwide.
Yeah.
I mean, I was lucky. My son graduated in Florida.
Right.
So I went and picked him up and we drove back. Well, we took the opportunity to stop in Gainesville. And so I could meet one of my clients.
Look, see?
Right?
See?
And on the way back in. I mean, but that's an oddity.
Yeah.
To get, so a lot of it's digital, phone, but it's good communication. And the answer is being all open and honest. And we're not here to judge. We're here to help. I mean, it's the opposite.
It's the opposite, right.
It's really the opposite. Again, because I personally know how it is to go to the bank and be told no.
Right.
It can be really downer. Because you're up here, a great idea, and the bank doesn't want to help me. I was like, well, yeah, but you're just talking to the wrong people.
That's all. And you have options with a loan broker. So we definitely want to say that we are an option for you guys, that you can definitely reach out to us. Also to know how we are done. Like you had mentioned it earlier for us pay. We get paid based on a percentage of what you receive.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So that's the good thing. People think, because as one of my clients told me, if you get me $3 million, paying you $90,000 is not going to be a problem.
Right.
And so that's the way you have to look at it, because we get it and it's done, and he's turned around in 4 weeks and he's gone. And he didn't have to leave his chair to do anything. We did all the heavy lifting. So that's what we're here for. And we want you all to know that. So to wrap up everything, if you would, is there anything you would like to tell our listeners that you want them to be aware of?
Yes. Talk to somebody. Get your ideas out there, especially with another broker. But really have somebody punch holes in your ideas. Punch holes in your ideas. It only makes your ideas stronger. And when you do end up presenting it to somebody, you already have all those pitfalls covered.
Right. And that's a great tip. Great tip. Well, we want to thank you for coming, Reyes.
Well, thank you very much. It was
As
great.
always, I love talking to you. And hopefully you can come back and we can do some more discussions on other things that can kind of help enlighten people on some stuff. So definitely want you all to be a part of it. If you all are interested in being or doing loan brokerage, he does, like we said earlier, he actually works with brokers and helping to develop them. Get in contact with us. We'll definitely get you with Reyes where he can actually work with if you're interested in that. You can go through our website and contact us at www.tdjequityllc.com. Okay. In the meantime, thank you for coming out again.
Thank you very much for having me. It's been fun.
And it is. Thank you so much. And to our listeners, if you like the information and would like to learn more, please subscribe to YouTube channel at youtube.com/TDJ Equity Funding Insiders. Until next time, thank you and take care.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of TDJ Equity Funding Insiders Podcast. If you'd like to be a guest or get in touch with us, please visit our website at tdjequityllc.net/podcast or email us at podcast@tdjequityfundinginsiders.net. Until next time, take care.